This grill had a one-way ticket to the landfill. The owner said, "Brandon, I ruined it. It's done for good, and it's time to just throw it away." Now, after hearing this, I took that as a challenge and knew I had to try to give it one good deep clean to see if I could save it. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, when I first looked at the grill, I knew that it was dirty and definitely needed to be cleaned, but I didn't think it was that bad. Then I pulled off the grates and kind of started to get into it. And at this point, I started to realize that this job might take a little bit longer than a few hours. Whenever I start a project like this, I always come through and just remove all of the easy stuff first. So that's removing any dry debris, kind of brushing and scraping the sides to see really what I'm working with and try to get down to that baked on char, because that stuff is going to be the hardest to remove. At first, I was confused by the inside of the lid because it looked like the paint had started to chip off. Well, I grabbed my scraper and realized quickly that that was actually char that had built up over years and years of grilling and no cleaning. Once I completed that initial scraping and brushing down of the entire grill, I came through with a shop vac and just vacuumed everything out. Now, I was told by the owner that this grill was passed down to him from his father and was about 15 to 20 years old. Now, my first thought was that's impressive and this grill is holding up really well for its age, but that also tells me that we have layers and layers of grease, grime, and char buildup that we're gonna have to clean through. Now, I like to start by spraying down with an oven cleaner. For this, I'm using Zep's oven and grill cleaner. Spray down the entire grill and let that set for a minimum of an hour. As I waited for the oven cleaner to work on the inside of the grill, I then moved on to all the removable parts like the grates and just gave them a quick brush to remove any of that dry debris that's just sitting on the surface. When I'm spraying down the grates and all the internal guts of the grill, I like to use a heavy-duty garbage bag. This kind of does two things. Initially, it helps contain the mess when you're spraying them down because the grease and grime is just going to start to run, and you don't want to get that on the cement if possible, because then you'll have another mess to clean up. The second thing it does is allows you to seal them inside the garbage bag. That way the degreaser really has good time to work and it's not going to dry. At this point, I was feeling really good about this clean, and we were about an hour in, so it was going pretty quick. But then I ran into a problem. We realized that there was no water anywhere on this side of the building, and I couldn't access it anywhere else. So we had to pivot a bit, so I quickly cleaned out this extremely full grease trap, and then we packed up the grill and brought it back to my shop. Now, while I was scrubbing down all the internal parts for this grill in the sink with hot water, I had something happen that has never happened in all my years of professional cleaning. And that was a strange odor started to develop, especially when I was scrubbing down this piece right here.
I can't believe how much this smells like steak.
Now, I guess there's a first time for everything, but usually in my experience, when you're scrubbing something that is so covered in grease and grime, it doesn't smell so good, but this legitimately kind of made me hungry. Now, all the internal parts for the grill sat in those sealed garbage bags with oven cleaner for about 2 hours by the time we got back to my shop. As you can see, a majority of the buildup was scraping off pretty easily, and this is just always a great reminder to let your cleaners sit and do their thing. Early on in my cleaning career, this is definitely something that I learned the hard way because I lacked patience. I would spray cleaner on, start scrubbing, and it would just take forever to get that item cleaned, or sometimes it just wouldn't work right away and I would move on and think this cleaner doesn't work. But I've learned that time and patience are two very important skills to have when you're cleaning. And I especially needed as much patience as I could get when cleaning this grill.
What have I done?
At this point, I was really starting to question if this grill would ever come clean. I felt like I was on a never-ending cycle of spray the cleaner down, give it a scrub, and then rinse down, only to reveal another layer of grease, grime, and char that had to be cleaned up. I continued to push through and gave myself a quick pep talk that I've come this far and scrubbed off so many layers that I can't stop now. I just need to see this grill nice and clean. What felt like an eternity of scrubbing, which was really only about a day, it was finally time to rinse everything down, give it a quick buff and shine, and we were ready to deliver the grill to the owner.
Here is your nice clean grill. It looks brand new. What did you do?
disgusting before. Oh my goodness. I didn't know this was reflective.
I mean, that's the crazy thing. Like, all that spiraling was char that was on there.
That's crazy. I thought that was like paint peeling off.
Yeah.
That was just carbon.